Barely few days after the Ekiti State High Court was invaded by thugs, venue of the Ekiti State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal was disrupted by hoodlums suspected to be party supporters. The youths prevented movement on roads leading to the venue as early as 8 a.m. The chairman of the tribunal, Muhammad Surajo, admonished counsels to caution their clients on creating chaos as he ruled that all applications are to be consolidated for hearing with the governor-elect Ayo Fayose in attendance.
Filed a response and for an expeditious hearing, we have stepped down our objections so that everything will be taken together with the substantive suit because of the time factor.
This is that we have fixed a day for hearing. Hearing will commence on the 14th, and I think we'll do it and we'll be through immediately.
Okay, now prepare your team for.
We are ready. We are ready for it. We are ready for it.
Okay.
Thank you.
As the chairman rounded up the sitting, the atmosphere outside the venue became tensed. There were reports of alleged beating up of a judge. Counsels and judges apparently became subject of attack from the hoodlums, which caused panic.
It's unfortunate. But violence is associated with all these political matters, but not for lawyers to attack. That's what we feel.
This is a political case. It comes with a lot of emotions. Once justice is done, everybody will be happy.
The presence of the Commissioner of Police here is evidence that he is on top of the security situation. We are going to assume that he will be able to sanitize the situation.
It took the combined efforts of the team led by the Commissioner of Police, Taiwo Lakano, and his lieutenants to rescue the lawyers and judges from the jaws of death as the mob stood nearby, resisting tear gas.
We tried to save the lives of the judges first. Nobody was injured. Everybody was taken out of court. The judge was protected, and we've sent them away. Our president led the team. We are taking the judges and lawyers out of town.
The case has been adjourned to October 14. The desperation of the youths or their principles needs to be checked to avoid crisis. Rashid, Core TV News.
Hello, welcome to this second segment of Core Digest. I am Martin Dixon. On this segment, we will be talking about the darkening clouds around EKITI. And I have here in the studio Barrister Lekon Alabi. He is going to help us out with discussions here. You just saw this report about the chaos that's been taking place around the court and has to involve the judges and some of the lawyers being beaten. Now, what do you make out of this kind of scenario?
Thank you for giving me the audience to come and hear my view on this current issue in Nigeria. I think it's so sad that this road that we have passed through before, we are now passing through it again. From an historical point of view, between 1999 and year 2014, I think in the whole federation, EKITI has highest number of chief executive of that state, whether as the executive governor or the acting governor or military sole administrator. They have the highest number of chief executive of that state. And each time that there are certain phase of a political class in the system in EKITI state, you will see a lot of people who take laws into their hands, who talk with their hands, who talk with guns, who talk with dangerous weapons. And the security operatives are always helpless when we have this phase of ruling class in the system in EKITI state. Between 2010 and now, EKITI state has been the pride of Nigeria when we see governance in action, when we see dividend of democracy in action, when we see the way government is supposed to be run, when we see the respect being accorded to each organ of government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. But as we are about to enter another regime, we are seeing another phase of a political class where people start talking with their hands, they start talking with guns, they start talking with brawn. So I think it's about the face of the ruling class. And to conclude this segment, I think this is the problem of a democracy.
Now,
The people in liberty, they always try to take tyranny, while people in tyranny will like to go for liberty.
Now let's look at this critically. Why will party supporters or a group of youths invade a court session? Why? Because the court has no direct impact yet until the ruling is passed. The case has not been decided either in favor of this or not. Before you begin to say probably those who have been disfavored are reacting. This is an ongoing proceeding and sitting. So why would it be invaded by thugs?
Well, I think this is not the first time the court will be invaded in EKITI State within 48 hours. Two days ago, the court was invaded, a judge was attacked, and immediately when the judge was attacked, there was a press statement issued by the governor-elect that is in the minds of the public, that some people wanted to use the back door to take over the governance from him. And he alleged that by calling the CJ and other judges in the EKITI judiciary, by calling them names, and justifying the people that went to the court premises to attack the sitting judge in respect of the ruling that he decided, even teaching the judge how to do his work. So some 24 hours later, there's also invasion of the tribunal by some people when the police are helpless. I don't think so that they have arrested a single people. And we're always seeing it in screen when some people are carrying cordials around the court premises. Nobody has been arrested. So to summarize my own point of view is that another phase of governance is coming back to EKITI State.
Now, leaving the governance aside now and then looking at the situation, because this is a very serious issue when you see the youths taking laws into their hands. Is it that the police are incapacitated to stop that?
That's the problem of Nigerian. That's the problem of Nigerian federalism. Nigerian federalism, the state will create court. Court will be created by the state, but the people that will guarantee the security of the state of the court will be sent from Abuja. And these police officers, they cannot answer the sitting governor. The governor is helpless.
No, talking about answering the governor, the police is mandated to maintain law and order.
But how many people have been arrested?
But when a group of youths are coming to disrupt or to cause chaos, aren't the police supposed to take charge?
But how many people have been arrested? We are seeing them carrying cordials. How many people have been arrested? Which means they are partisan. Which means there are some people that are above the law. Which means that these youth are being responded to stimuli. That some people are pulling them somewhere that nobody can arrest you. Which means that we have a partisan security apparatus. Which means that because a sitting governor maybe is a member of opposition party, that's the reason why that the police have not been able to do their job. That what they are just going to do is to make sure that the judges are safe, and we just accord them to enter their vehicles, and to, after judges, then the lawyers will now be accorded some courtesy and walk them to their vehicle. If judges are seeing this kind of thing, are we sure that the judges are going to decide the case according to the evidence before them and according to the law of the land? The court has been intimidated, and no single, we see it in the screen. Nobody has been arrested, and we see them carrying cordials. We are seeing them carrying cordials, intimidating both judges and the lawyers. They are not witnesses, and the matter is not right for hearing.
Okay, let's listen to this live situation report on exactly what is on ground in EKITI. We seem not to be getting over there. Now, back to these issues. When you look at the whole situation and see which position or how does this place the court generally when issues like this begin to happen?
Number one, the way I see at it is that we have not really started governance in Nigeria. We have not really started a kind of governance that international community will have confidence to come and put their money down in this place for investment. If they know that whenever they have issues with you, when they get to court, some hoodlums will not allow the court to sit, and the police will be looking at them. It's a serious case. And unfortunately, EKITI has galaxy of best lawyers in Nigeria. Best lawyers in Nigeria. And they are leading members of the bar. And it is a concern for everybody.
Now, how does this affect the court? The court itself as an entity, or the judiciary?
The issue is that, we have 3 organs of government. We have the executive, we have the legislators, and we have the judiciary. And judiciary supposed to be independent of all other organs of government. And there's no way your independence can be secured when there is no security for the person that's going to determine the case. So we have a very helpless situation whereby judges will not be able to do the work the way it should be done. It's a helpless situation. And it's a clarion call to the political elite in the country, whether they are members of the ruling class or they are members of the dominated ruling class, that they have to see it that the court must be saved. Because these people that are causing this problem, they also need the court again to rescue them in a future date. They will also need court to rescue them in a future date.
Now, how do you think the politicians or who should control this situation? Because when people go out on the streets and we don't see them carrying guns, so I think they should be able to be controlled to an extent.
That's what I'm saying, that the police that I'm seeing, the police are not doing the work the way it should be done. And this mob I'm seeing, they have had assurances that nothing will happen to them, whatever they do. This is where the issue of the ruling class of this country, this is where it comes in, that they should allow the institutions of government. What I mean by institution of government, I mean our courts, I mean our police, I mean our army, I mean all these segments of government. They should allow them to do the work according to the law. Because the thing, when it goes this way this time around, it may go another way another time. They must allow all these segments of people to do their work the way it should be done. Because I can see that the police were helpless. They are looking at the people who are carrying cudgels. Nobody was arrested. As far as we see it in this place. And they are just saying that they will allow the judges to go and they will allow the lawyers to go. If a judge is marked and they know that nobody is going to give them assurance that there's nothing going to be happening to them, the judge, it will be very difficult for the judge to do the work the way it should be done. It's either we have institutions of state or we don't have the institution of state. We cannot afford to have a lame duck. We cannot afford to have an institution that is so weak that it's not going to perform any function. If you don't need an institution, we don't need any institution. But for the police to be looking at people who are carrying cudgels up and down, threatening people and smashing judges' glasses. So it's a very sad situation. Because the people that did it 2 days ago, they went away with it. That's the reason why they had the courage to come and attack the tribunal where the court was sitting.
Now, as a lawyer, how do you think this should be handled?
Well, you cannot use self-help to check the self-help. So this is the time that Inspector General of Police have to speak up about what is going on in EKITI.
No, but we saw the Commissioner of Police on the ground.
There's an hierarchy of command from Commissioner of Police to Assistant Inspector General of Police. The command goes up and up. But this is a burning issue in the country now. They have to come out clean on this issue. If they cannot secure our court for us, if they cannot secure the lives and property of citizens, if they cannot secure those things, then we don't need that kind of institution. This is the reason why they have to come out without being partitioned. They have to come out without being partitioned. If anybody is involved in this matter, the person should be arrested. Because it is in the same court that we have to take the people that are arrested too.
Now, how will this affect the governance of the state generally? Now, when you see this kind of situation, in what way will this affect the governance of the state?
I've told you that the kind of federalism we have in Nigeria is an anomaly, because the executive governor of the state does not have the instrument of force. What I mean by instrument of force is that to command the police to do their work or to enforce law and order. If the sitting governor anywhere in the country, a sitting governor anywhere in the country cannot command the commissioner of police in his state to enforce certain law and order without getting clearance from Abuja, the CP has to get clearance from his from the IG. So the word chief executive of a state, I think, is just a political language.
Now, will this have an effect on the transition?
Of course, it's affecting transition already. We read it that the schools have been shut. I don't know why school can be shut because a tribunal is going on. Judges have directed that the courts should be shut and all that. Because when the life and property is no longer safe, what's the essence of governance? It has really affected the governance of the state. It has affected the governance negatively, affected the governance of the state because the governor is helpless.
We are talking about transition from one government to the other. We're talking about.
Yes.
Now, how will that affect the transition of the government? We see another government coming in.
It is clear.
When we see this kind of things,
it's not going to. At the end of the tenure of the current governor, of course, the governor-elect has to assume power. He has to assume power. I know the whole contradiction will have been settled and resolved before that time. I know it will be resolved because it is CJ that's going to do the swearing for the governor-elect before he can assume the power to govern. So, of course, the contradictions have to be resolved.
Okay, now I'm going to round up now, but as we round up, what will be, as a legal practitioner, what would be your advice to the people of EKITI and especially politicians involved in these processes?
I've said that whether they are in opposition, the ruling class, whether they are in the opposition or they are in government, they have to come together and try to make sure that they work in accordance with law and order. The court is always there. If you are dissatisfied at the lower court, that is High Court, the Court of Appeal is there. If you are dissatisfied at the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court is there. So it is better they have to hold their supporters from the opposition and from the ruling party. They have to hold their supporters. They have to remain calm. After all, the person who was the governor before Fayemi, Engineer Segmoni, he was removed by the instrument of court, by the instrument of law and order. So when the lower court did not give judgment, then they went to Court of Appeal, then the Court of Appeal, now this man was the one that was elected as the governor of EKITI State. So they have to hold their emotion. They have to make sure that most of their children, the children of the ruling class, whether in the opposition and in the governance, their children are not on the street. Their children are not carrying cordial. Their children are not attacking judges. Their children, they are in their comfort zones. So they should allow the lawyers, both sides, for the lawyers to do their work. And the police must also come out loud and clear that they are not partisan in this matter. If anybody breaches the law of the land, that person must be arrested, be taken to court, and be prosecuted. Then we now urge our leading legal minds in the country who are from EKITI State. They have to call themselves and try to talk, because they are older than these people. They have to talk to them and try to advise them that the way the thing is going, EKITI is not being portrayed in a very good light.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Lekon, for being on this segment of the program, and appreciate your contributions to this topic.
Thank you.
Viewers, it's been Core Digest, and we'll be rounding up here. We've been talking about the darkening cloud in EKITI, and talking with us has been Barrister Lekon Alabi. This is where we draw the curtain, and thank you for being with us on Core Digest. Join us again tomorrow for another interesting time and discussions. I am Martins Dixon. We enjoy the rest of your day.
Core TV News.